net. Follow-up from Garrett G, scored.
Really nice effort there from Sathu to get back. And again, Astro just a little bit slow to go for that challenge in the midfield. You don't pick it up quite on the replay, but he did take maybe a quarter of a second or so just to really make sure he could go for it. And that was really all it took. JKnaps got on top of it and just pushed it through him.
Took them a second or two just to wind themselves into this match. But right now, this game is all NRG2, 4-1. And honestly, it looks like Safstro's best moment has been and gone in this game.
Yeah, I kind of sat down and it was writing the details of that last goal, so I totally missed what happened on this goal. But, you know, it's a kickoff. There's not much to say. It goes straight out to the side, and they're just quick to it.
Safstro just not really looking themselves after that second goal went in. Good flick up.
Chance here. Ooh, missed it.
Astro has got to back out. He's trying to keep that pressure on at this point in time. Have to fight for some time as well, because Sathu wants to take some hits away at JKnaps. Unless they can get something going soon, this game could very well be over.
Here's a good chance to get it going.
That's going to be an own goal, forcing it out. Calculated, calculated, calculated. And then your chat has been disabled.
Yeah, Sathu did get a little bit of help here from Garrett G. Honestly, I don't even know why Garrett's bothering to challenge that ball. The only thing that's going to happen there is he either wins it or it goes to the side, but is that really worth the risk of bringing him right back into the game? Now they have a minute 15 to only score 2.
I think from the looks of it, he was definitely trying to set up for a demo or something like that as JKnaps wasted the time. But now we do have a match on our hands. Sathu and Astro really making a meal of this at this point. Astro has got the ball on his head, will be challenged from the side. And the follow-up from Sathu will be too late. Garrett G to the other end of the field.
Man, that's a great read from Garrett G. Sathu had a couple of different ways he could have put that ball, and Garrett G knew exactly what he was doing with it.
Garrett G will be out first. JKnaps, he just loiters, passes it back, but they've leveled it too high. JKnaps could still be around for yet another shot. But Sathu will happily see that one away. 35 seconds remaining at this point. Safstro, after a couple more chances, but those clears are going to be the worst things for them to see at this point in time, especially when you're in zero boost, like Sathu currently is. He wants to try and pick up that middle one. Goal needs to come very soon if they want to try and make something off the following kickoff. Garrett G happy to just keep taking pot shots away of the net. JKnaps versus Astro. Shot is there, but the save is just as good. As the time ticks away, the match was definitely more difficult than I think NRG2 were expecting, but they have managed to pick up the game.
Yeah, pretty solid game one from NRG2, but this, honestly, that game one kind of went about as I expected, to be totally honest. I knew Sathu and Astro would put up a pretty decent fight, but having to make, like you'll see in the stat sheet in a second, they had to make 10 saves in that game. That's pretty much par for the course. I knew they were going to be able to make them, but I had some serious doubts about whether they'd actually be able to gain possession of the ball and move on the offense.
Well, the interesting thing for me, obviously watching that match there is, you know, Safstro taking the lead in that one seemed to awaken the beast a little bit in NRG2. Sometimes it can be the case in these games that, you know, the favoured team does come out a little bit slow early on, obviously first game for them today. But that did awake the beast, and from then they pretty much controlled the game.
Well, the majority of teams that NRG2 have faced to this point don't really know how to capitalize that quickly. They use a lot of boosts just trying to get the ball rather than what to do immediately afterwards. And yes, it can be a worry for NRG2, but I think as soon as that goal went in, that was something they were going to fix pretty quickly. The main thing I'm looking at right now for Safstro, they've got to be very aware of where they put that ball. There is such a thing as taking too bad of a shot, where you basically give away all of the pressure. It's the same thing you've seen other sports where, you know, someone throws the ball, and if you make it too easy, they can just power it elsewhere. If you take a shot that is too low or bounces up, it's an easy half volley clear. They need to be very careful with where they place that ball, otherwise they can get caught.
And also the big issue that I saw to Safstro in general is a lot of times they've spent on defense. Yes, they were able to make a lot of saves, but they also didn't have a lot of boost to really push out on the offense. They didn't give themselves the ability to. That being said, Garrett G and JKnaps doing a bang-up job controlling a lot of the boost on the pitch.
So again then, gentlemen, game two's underway. It's back over to you.
So can those changes come through for Safstro?
Oh, no way.
Well, they look to try and make it's a real hassle for NRG2. Unable to quite do that in game number one, despite a very bright start for them. JKnaps has got Garrett to aim for. Just seemed to slice across the side of that ball, and now looking to break nice and quickly. Sathu. Astro is up front, trying to cause some damage. It seemed a little bit wasteful, though, and it didn't really look like they knew what they wanted to do with that ball. Definitely knew what they wanted to do with that one, though. Just banging it down to the other end of the field.
Wow.
Astro, one is clear.
Astro got a pretty fortunate way to land on that back wall, put him right back in position to challenge that ball. It's going to keep it here in the neutral game. This is going to be a big test here for Sathu and Astro. They can really gain possession here and stay on offense for a bit. But they keep missing boost around the pitch. They just let JKnaps have his own corner boost.
We're going to see what JKnaps can do with that corner boost. It is beat to the ball by Astro. What is that going to mean in the long run? Astro's got Garrett to try and beat, but it was just that little bit too early. Another challenge win. Garrett G causing damage all by himself. Out to JKnaps.
So
scored!
early. JKnaps was up so quick for this shot. Garrett G wins another good challenge. JKnaps immediately starts raising up the field. He knows where this one's going. And Astro, you can try all you want. You got to know exactly where that pass is going before you're going to make it to there. So a well-executed play from NRG2 there.
I mean, if you're JKnaps, you've just watched Garrett G beat two players all the way down to the other end of the pitch. You've got to know that he's going to be able to get that pass over to you. So Garrett G doing incredibly good in situations where he's just one-on-one against a player. This time he's going to be 2v1. Woo.
Don't own a
And
goal
the
in again.
pass wasn't great,
Oh,
but
no.
still, it's such a calamity in the blue box. 1-1 out of pretty much nowhere.
Sathu giving or JKnaps giving a lot of respect there to Astro. He jumped at that ball because he's like, look, if he hits it, I got to be able to save the ball. And unfortunately, you know, he missed it, and that made JKnaps fly right by. So a nice, easy equalizer. And, you know, if you're Sathu and Astro, you take what you can get.
I mean, they'll definitely take it, especially considering they were a goal down. Garrett. Does he want to go for the Doomsy Dish? No. Definitely tried for it, but the woodwork did deny him.
Ooh, that's clean.
Astro has to do well here. Decides to go straight down the line. I like that a lot more. Usually a lot of these players try to go as direct as possible.
Big miss.
There is the opportunity to use a bit of width, and Astro uses too much width on that shot off the woodwork. And that was their chance to take the lead.
And that is the big difference maker between really good teams and great teams. One team makes a mistake, every great team will punish it immediately and precisely. And when you miss chances like that, it does not look good.
Garrett, some of those power shots towards the net. How long until he wants to pass out to JKnaps? JKnaps has got someone to jump. Astro is going to be forced to chase us down. He's got two players, different layers of gladiators in front of him. Tries to allow Sathu to move forward. Backboard aim for. JKnaps jumps.
Ooh,
He's
he
not
missed
got
it.
there in time. Going to go for the backboard yet again. It just didn't quite look like they ever got the angle. The opportunity is now gone.
Honestly, not the cleanest game here from NRG2. A couple of big mistakes that Sathu and Astro really should have been able to punish, but so far the precision not quite there on offense.
Back out. Garrett G infield to
Oh, what a
JKnaps,
shot.
and JKnaps. Well, he's just not going to miss those, is he?
He's not going to miss those, and the more important thing is exactly where he places this ball. Again, he knows Garrett's going to flip that one right out to him. Any decent player is going to be able to put that ball right in the center of the net. It's only JKnaps who can fire it into the right-hand post and make it unsavable.
And considering the conversations we have had over the past few days, it really is the sort of situation you want to employ the infield pass when there is another option available, when you're forcing the other team to look, because he could have just put it off the backboard and JKnaps could have followed from there. So once those two options become available as a defender, it becomes that much harder to try and cover both of them.
It's kind of, again, it's just like every other fighting game. Give yourself all of the options in the world. It becomes very difficult to defend against all of them at once.
Now G2 controlling the pace at the moment. Safstro only have a minute and 20 left if they want to try and find a way through, but Garrett G yet again booming clear to the other end of the field. You can see just how well they can just reverse the pressure on a dime.
Ooh, JKnaps
And
with a
that
big
is going
risk.
to be an open net. Sathu just has to tap that one in. NRG2 once again caught with too many players forwards.
Yeah, JKnaps, he was like, yeah, I can go beat Astro this ball, but again, that is a lack of respect this time around as opposed to earlier where he had too much. He's just like, I'm JKnaps, I can do whatever I want. No, you cannot. Sathu and Astro will take that one any day.
He's delayed his extra flick as long as he possibly could. Is this the opportunity they need? It is! 3-2. And I I think we might have picked this up as being a little bit too much of a whitewash.
Well, it honestly probably should have been, but Garrett G really overcommitted to that left-hand side. Sathu with a nice dribble, a solid catch, and a quick hard cut to the right-hand side. You can catch even the best in the world off guard if you do it right.
I mentioned the NRG2, if they want to progress into the later stages of the tournament, would love to work for a little bit of it. Get them used to the higher stakes. This match is starting to get higher stakes now that Safstro have got themselves a lead. They need to convert it though. We've already seen NRG2 bounce back with less than a minute to go. And there's nothing to say they can't do it yet again.
What really bites is Sathu and Astro should really have at least a 1-goal cushion here in this game.
The other end of the field, JKnaps. Gonna try and follow his own. Astro leaves that for as long as possible. Might not have been the best idea as they've been required to commit 2 players to the corner. Could open up some space. Sathu though with enough boost to try and recover.
Yeah, they really lucked out. JKnaps was in the midfield. He only had 8 boost and he peeled off to look at the mid one. Here's a chance though. Garrett G double tap off the back wall. It doesn't matter how much time is on the clock. He'll grab the boost in the midfield. Sathu's late to it. JKnaps sets it up and he'll tap that one home.
Just a complete lack of pace coming out from Safstro. They saw the ball coming towards them and it was almost like a resignation that that ball was going to go into the back of the net. They just seemed to forget how to get over to it. And it's happened yet again. Last time we were here, it was a 0-second goal that finished it all off.
They got
Is it going to be something close to that? 5 seconds left. Safstro retake the lead.
And Garrett G, a lot of faith in JKnaps' challenge right there, was creeping forward. And again, Sathu and Astro get it over their heads, and it's a wide open net.
5 seconds now. This is not over just yet, especially off this kickoff. There is a possibility for the cheetah. Neither of them want to go for it, though. Boost to Garrett, shot to Garrett, follow-up, not though.
Kept it high.
I think JKnaps is going to be able to get to that, especially after Sathu gets there in time. So, achieves an onset. 1 game apiece.
1 game apiece indeed, and gentlemen, we have a series on our hands.
They dodged a bullet, though.
I was just about to say, that could have been a lot easier than they made it. That could have been easier than they made it. They had some really big chances there achieved that they didn't take hold of, but most importantly, unlike we saw yesterday against NRG2, they managed to just close out that game.
Yeah, exactly, and definitely Garrett G and JKnaps showing that they can bleed. I mean, we're sitting here saying they're undoubtedly the best team, and don't get us wrong, they absolutely are, but you can see that they are not playing this game perfectly as you may have been led to believe from what we've seen so far. They definitely are leaving a few options open that they really probably shouldn't.
It definitely seems more like decision-making issues rather than his mechanical issues.
Exactly.
From NRG2. I mean, twice they got caught whilst trying to come off that backboard, and you know, you should probably learn from it after the first time.
A question for you, both of you guys actually, was do you feel there might have been a little bit of overconfidence from NRG2 in some of those challenges in the midfield that we saw that did lead to the goals to Sastro? Obviously, if they can address that in this next game, then that might be a big thing for them to look at.
Well, the crazy thing is it's not overconfidence in the guy going for the challenge. It's overconfidence in the guy behind them. Because you always, it goes back to what we were talking about on the first day of this broadcast. The decision-making of the back player is so important in 2v2. And if you're sitting there like, yeah, JKnaps has that challenge, whatever, and you start pushing forward, and then all of a sudden he loses it, well, now you're the one at fault.
I'm a little bit on both sides for this one, because at the same time, we saw that very first backboard one where JKnaps went forward. He knew no one was going to be able to get back in time because Garrett just tried to play. Would JKnaps be going for that if there was maybe a higher or maybe more recognized name up there trying to take that ball? I don't think he would.
I don't think that's an excuse. I think he
no,
knows
I'm
how
just saying,
good.
and that's me not trying to give them an excuse. That's me maybe saying maybe not respecting what's in front of them enough.
Yeah, it's just like, but I think they know who Sathu and Astro are. I think they know they're good players, and they can definitely take advantage of that. I think it's just, you know, they're like, yeah, I can go get that. So yeah, lack of respect.
Okay, well, just to remind you all, we've had some goals already in this game. Haven't quite tallied them up. You usually tally them up, but
I've got them written down.
Okay, well, we've got some meals to give away, basically, is what we're saying. Soylent will be donating some meals. It'll be every single goal scored. Obviously, Soylent will be donating 10 meals. They won't donate goals. They're donating meals. That's what they're doing. They donate 10 meals for every single goal that is scored. So I believe it's 13 you were saying there.
Yeah,
so
13
fantastic.
between both
130 meals already if you want to get involved in the fight against hunger as well. Obviously, head over to wfpusa.org/Shogun Universal Open. We're
not going to make anything wrong
today. We're a
today.
team here, so that's always good to see. But it looks like Game 3 is about to get underway, and this could be a real swing game in this series, gentlemen, especially if Sastro can maybe just eke out a game here and put themselves on match point.
But here's the big difference. Garrett G and JKnaps, I think they know exactly what went wrong in that last game. And do not expect those same wide open, double committee, out of position, free goals that Sathu and Astro got. If they're going to want to win, they're going to have to beat.
Casual music's now off. Okay, they're going to get rid of that. They've
The lounge
changed it to the
dance
real
now.
game playlist. Okay, it's full of dubstep metal and dubstep metal. As you did mention, this could be the swing game. It's going to be the flip reset from JKnaps, and he attempted to use it. Most of the time in Rocket League, it's not actually gaining the flip reset that's the most difficult part. It's keeping control of your ball after you do it.
And that's why I'm only champ 3.
Only champ 3. What percentage is that in the game?
It's in the top 1%.
Yes. You're doing okay for yourself. You can sit in a room of 100 people and say, I'm probably better than all of you. But as soon as number 101 turns up,
I'm done.
you're done. You're not the best anymore. Out the backboard. JKnaps goes hunting. Setup could come over to him as well. Double commit over to the side. Just see Garrett loitering around in the back for exactly this sort of situation. Boost control currently
Where's
over to
Astro?
NRG2. What a great shot. And if they can pick up this win, they'll be that much closer to that $100,000 prize pool.
Oh no, Astro on the rotate back. He took a really sharp angle into the net, realized he only had 16 boost, and then cut back out to the corner to go and grab it. Left the net wide open. He would have been there if he would have rotated properly.
You just get a little bit panicky though when you've had offensive issues for as long as it was, especially as the boost staff was starting to be employed. Starting to get the feeling that you need to finish off the play nice and quickly. Never clear. Sathu versus Garrett. It does come out in Sathu's favor. Be that little bit more difficult to catch NRG2 out. You can see the line is now spread much further out. They're no longer pushing beyond the halfway line with number 2.
Ooh,
They might
missed
not
it.
even have to bother with that though. Another mistake from Safstro. And that is going to be 2-0.
Another mistake, but also it's a very tough play to make right here. Reading that top corner bounce, it's so much easier. I like to call it the advantage of position from the offense. You can see that ball, know exactly where it's coming down off that corner, and know exactly where it's going to go in relation to the pitch. Playing that with the camera angle straight up is so difficult.
As well, you just got much better angles to try and come towards it, but
Ooh.
JKnaps wants to try and make use of his own angles. Is shut down. His next goal, get the feeling, really has to go to Safstro. Oh boys, this game could really run away from them. Coming up towards the end of the second minute of the game. Played out. There's
what a
Sathu,
touch.
and what a great team play that is. Phenomenal confidence from the boys, and they've got back into it.
A perfect lead here from Astro right out in front of Sathu. And what's so important is that they got it done quickly. Garrett G and JKnaps were still playing that very aggressive style, and they said, look, we need to drive the ball down the pitch quickly, and they did it accurately as well. That's the most important part. They got it done fast and accurate.
That's also the first time we've seen Safstro put someone behind the line. It's usually been down to NRG2 pushing up way too far forward. This time just needed to get a big enough clear to try and find the man, but another shot there from Sathu is this time blocked.
And one thing Garrett G and JKnaps continue to do very well is control all the boost on that orange side of the field. They've only had access to maybe one of the orange corner boosts on defense, and it has been a struggle this entire game 3 for them.
Best option seems to be Garrett G going for the air dribble.
Wow, he missed it.
You know, for any other player, you wouldn't have that sound of surprise
Yeah,
on
I
you.
know, right? It's just like you see Garrett G get over the head of somebody, you're like, that's going in.
I usually say that every time I see Garrett G with the ball. Doesn't matter where or if,
Ooh.
but JKnaps will be the stronger of the two cars in that situation. 3-1.
JKnaps has definitely spent a lot more time in the gym. That's for sure than Astro. And just, oh, perfect positioning on that challenge.
Dug the shoulder in there.
Yeah, center of mass, center of the ball. There's no way you're winning that one unless you're doing the exact same thing.
Winner of this game will be on match point. It's not over just yet, but sure NRG2 would love to just keep putting the goals in. There's going to be another opportunity. Way too far out. Now Garrett G finds himself alone. Safstro just can't quite get it set up for himself. There's Garrett G looking for that double tap. This time around, he is blocked. Anyone back this time around? Garrett G just tried to force it in.
I switched my camera angles on that one. I thought that was actually the G2 net, and I was like, oopsie daisy. I was like, hang on a minute, never mind. He's being cheeky.
Astro, he's going to try and be a little bit cheeky with this one as well. Had very little boost, but still slow down the pace just enough. I'm not quite liking these angles, though, that Safyu is taking in towards the ball. Leaves way too many options, and it's just not quite fast enough for me at this point in time, but Astro might not need speed.
You could see Astro rotating his car back there, trying to get a better angle on the challenge, hoping Garrett G would be coming at it really, really fast.
Back out. Garrett G. Just around thinking better. Almost got flick, but you saw him pre-jump the stop. Seemed to know exactly what was going to come towards him, and he read it correctly. So it's going to be back in the orange side of the field. Back to square one for Safstro. Look to try and pick up the first of two. Is it going to be free? Quite.
Changeup not quite good enough, and again, JKnaps and Garrett G really limiting Safstro's boost management on their own half. That's a great play from Astro, though. Lands under JKnaps, takes him out of the play, and it's a chance to breathe.
Just haven't got players in the correct positions, though, to follow up afterwards.
Oh, he's up so early.
NRG2 holding that midfield line. Whoever is required to stop, usually tasked with trying to play the ball immediately afterwards. That's going to be Safyu. He's won the challenge. Maybe he can drop himself down there in a good spot, and he has. 1-goal game, 22 seconds left.
Excellent recovery here from Safyu. Just gets right on top of it, boost down to the ground because speed's important. Garrett G was racing back, and that is an individual effort that they needed to give themselves a chance here. Not a lot of time, but this is a good chance. With a kickoff, you can set yourself up on the right foot with a good one.
Very rarely do those hit and hope and chases really work out, but that time around it did. JKnaps wants to try and put the nail in the coffin. And now we've got the 1v1. Safyu chasing downfield. You know JKnaps is around now. Went for the early flick. I would love to have seen him use a little bit more whip. You had time. And now they've got to get a hold of this ball somehow, but Astro and Safyu too close to the wall. Demo will be chased up. More bumps. They don't want to see anything. They won't see anything. 2-1 to NRG2.
NRG2 then on the match point, as you can just see there, a much more convincing performance from them, but again Safstro giving as good as they got, and something we should highlight during that game, during our first series of the day, we have a dual force achievement unlock, and that is going to go to the man himself, Safyu, who picked up 7 goals, and he's currently on 17 saves as well, which is the most we have had so far in the Universal Open Season 2. So congratulations to him. Obviously, he would have much rather taken that win home, but obviously the achievement unlocked, which should be right.
Yeah, sure. He's definitely had to play some really stingy defense here between Garrett G and JKnaps, and I just realized he's scored actually every single goal for Safstro so far. So,
well, there you go. So NRG2 now on match point. You can see, you know, they're getting closer and closer and closer now to moving on how we would expect them to, but they are getting that challenge that you were talking about, Shogun, that they would have maybe wanted as they move into these qualifiers, going ahead a little bit. They're being made to work so hard for this.
Yes, I mean, right now we're not too sure roughly where competitive 2v2 stands. We're not too sure what the playstyle is going to be. I can kind of assume that it's the same for most of these guys. You know, a lot of them, the only times they'll play twos is, you know, solo in ranked, where you're just constantly changing up. I really doubt that there's a scrim scene for it at this point in time.
Not yet.
Not yet. I might get closer and closer to it.
I'll tell you what, with $100,000 on the line, you might see that happening pretty quickly, to be honest with you. You know, that's a lot of money to be involved with, but the game is about to get started, gentlemen. Will we see a game number 5 here in our first series of the day? It's a good question. Or will NRG close this one out, gentlemen? The game's about to start. I'm throwing it back to you, but what do you think? Game 5?
Has to be scrappy. This has to be scrappy if Safstro want any chance. If this starts becoming clean, you can suddenly start to see those rotations. That midfield hold from NRG2 is a little bit too strong for them. But if they can keep this end-to-end gameplay going, that might just work out.
Yeah, I'd also like to see Safstro use a little bit less boost on their own half. I saw him go off the ceiling for some weird touches, using a lot of boost in kind of pointless endeavors. So kind of limit that, and they might be able to hang on a little bit more and challenge better out of the midfield.
Well, let's see if they can indeed do that. Remember, one more win for NRG2 puts them through to the next round of our tournament.
Oh, you're kidding.
Well, you absolutely are. JKnaps keeping that pressure on. Garrett G forced the challenge. Here. This is Safyu's opportunity. Number 8 for him.
9.
Number 9 for him, in fact.
He had 8 already. That's 9.
Boy simply cannot miss.
He's done a bang-up job making sure he scores when he's got the opportunities. That is for sure. And again, JKnaps and Garrett G, well, just feeling a little bit too cocky, moving forward really hard.
Well, I do like what we're currently seeing from Safyu, where he does hold himself further up the field. He is trusting Astro.
Yeah.
with the defense. He is saying, okay, you can cover that, and I will come back, you know, if needed. He certainly might be needed in this situation, but that ability just to hold around with Astro does get a big clear. Very useful and opens up a lot more options.
Like right there. Astro just used so much boost trying to chase that ball down.
He's using everything he can, including the small boost.
Exactly.
Safiu doesn't take that bait. Now he's got an opportunity to move this by himself. Option to his right.
Make it.
Not quite used. Flick wasn't as powerful as he was intending. He absolutely wins the race in the air.
Astro wisely leaving that boost behind him for Safiu to collect so they can both push up here.
Safiu does not seem to have any boost. Garrett G will be forced to play by himself. He's thought to come out wide. JKnaps knowing better than try and challenge with Safiu. Still remain 1 goal to the better. Been a pace slowdown. Astro to take on the 1v1s.
And that really does favor Safiu and Astro because you've got your 1-goal lead. At this point, you kind of just buckle down, and if you get a chance, you go for it, but you can't afford to miss something like that.
Well, Safiu's got there back in time, but he has got a very incidental touch. Follow-up from Garrett G. Let's go just a little bit too high up for that one. Found himself too far forward.
You're not even halfway through the game, but already kind of clock management is on your mind. And you have to be very careful with the challenges you go for.
Back out. Pressure currently on. JKnaps has got the ball on his hood. Not for too long, however.
Another wasted boost.
And that's going to be a waste of a ball as well. Once again, shot from NRG2 is too high. But the low boost from Sapstro could catch them out here. There's going to be the pickup in the far corner. That was crucial for Safiu.
JKnaps stole the other one, though.
It's going to be pretty much down to Safiu to deal with JKnaps. Drop straight down. Too much for Astro to deal with. In fact, that was pretty much the only situation he probably could deal with. The amount of boost he had. Being a high boost spell at the end of their 1-goal lead.
That was a big challenge there from Safiu to buy all the time in the world for Astro to get back. It was a big challenge.
Safiu waits out. Stealing that boost in the far corner. Astro by himself. That shot will not drop him too much. The boost steal is attempted and it is there. Follow up from Garrett G. Too high.
Nice.
Double tap. You wanted it earlier on, Achieves. He delivers it this time around.
Got it this time, and this is an even tougher read, to be honest, because you're not sure if it's going to go off the bar and go down or go right back out to the center. So a perfect read from Garrett G. Plenty of time in the lab to nail that one.
1-0 in a 2v2 game. We were insane to even think that that could ever happen.
What is this, football?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, definitely teaching you here. Garrett G. The setup to JKnaps. Dropping straight down, but you can already see Garrett G respecting the option from Sapstro. Dangerous, however. Safiu has played it back out. That was the worst thing he could have possibly done. Not the corner, not the upper end of the pitch, right into the path of Garrett G.
What really is the most unfortunate part is he doesn't... The positioning does not work in his favor. There's only one way to hit that ball for it to be truly safe, and he misplayed it. He came a little bit too far under it instead of getting all the way behind it. Just popped it right off the ceiling.
Now Sapstro, despite the bright start from them, have dropped it. It's now 2-1. They've got to keep that belief, though, that they can get this one back. The lower bracket is indeed the safety net that they've got, but it's a safety net that they don't want to use.
Also, you get to walk into the regional saying you beat NRG2, and people pay attention to that.
Everyone will be paying attention to that. Garen, back forward from him. Safiu taking his time, knowing the JKnaps has gone all the way around for a wide rotation. Another double tap attempt from Garrett G. I think he might be listening to the broadcast, Achieves.
I think he's just got, you know, he got his protein this morning. Because that's disgusting. Oof.
3-1. NRG2 made to work for it.
What time is it over there in the US? It's, we're 6 hours ahead of Eastern time. Or we're 6 hours ahead of Central.
We're 5, I believe.
Yeah, we're 5 ahead.
Well,
how about another one? There's 4 is right.
JKnaps popping in yet another one, and now it seems like for Sapstro, that belief might just be welting away.
I think that's it. I think that's it. But to be fair, an excellent series overall by Safiu and Astro. I mean, what more could you ask for? We saw Garrett G and JKnaps.
We could ask for the potential comeback.
Okay, we could ask for that. But does it happen? What happened on this kick? Oh, just a big miss from Garrett G.
They've been intentionally losing those pretty much all game. That time around, it comes out to catch them. Saphiu is able to follow through on his own touch. Maybe that belief comes back just a little bit more.
They need to get this one as well.
For the boost. JKnaps very close. Will not be there for that one.
Ooh, they're both
Astro.
there. They're lurking.
We have the shot. It's a pretty good one as well, but Garrett G in there to cover.
Just
Keeping
feel
that
like they
ball up
rushed
high.
it.
Garrett G will happily see that one away. Pick up that goal, and they've got to pick up soon, but that's a very good double tap there from Astro. The wall boost to bring himself back down.
Ooh, good fake.
Pass out could be very difficult. Garrett G, the ball
That's
in his own
good.
control. That miss could be the difference maker now in this game. Saphiu, use boost to get into this position. Use boost to get it around. And Garrett G once again covering. NRG happily putting people all the way back. JKnaps can't quite nail that shot, but it will not matter. Your first qualifiers, NRG2.
So perhaps not the biggest of surprises, but again, definitely showing them that they got to do a little bit of work if you
Do
want
it.
to end up winning this thing. No consolation there at 0 seconds to just pad the stats a little bit for JKnaps and Garrett G. But again, well played to Sastro. Really want to see how they play in the losers bracket. They played a pretty good game, to be honest, and I think if you're versus anybody but Garrett G and JKnaps, they probably beat a lot of people.
Well, we're going to be able to see that later on set.
Yeah, we are indeed, and yeah, congratulations again to NRG2, our first qualifier so far from the Eastern region. Fantastic performance from them. Not what we didn't expect. Definitely one of the favourites, potentially tournament favourites coming into the Universal Open Season 2. But there was one moment in that game for me that really seemed to swing the tide a little bit, and it was that second goal that NRG2 got, the mistake that came in, and you know what it's like. Yeah, you know what it's like as a player when you're in such a tight game, such an attritional game. You make that one mistake, and all of the confidence can just, especially when you know your tournament, your upper bracket life's on the line, it can just drain like that.
Well, most of the time that we saw mistakes from Sastro, it was usually forced mistakes. You know, times that really you can't really blame them too much for making the mistake because it was definitely an issue
play,
there.
yeah.
But this time around,
Unforced error.
just not needed. And when you get that sort of mistake come out, it does drain a lot from you. And from there, NRG2 just started to dominate.
Yeah, I mean, Garrett G, you know, like you said, started listening to the broadcast, nailing the double taps. And after that, that's all she wrote.
So NRG2, as we say, they will be our first qualifier. The question obviously coming out of today is going to be who's going to be joining them now. I mean, Sastro put up a pretty strong performance, but you know that lower bracket's got some potential sharks in the water there.
Sastro plays Splice, because they're... No, wait, no, Splice is on the upper half.
They'll be taking on Birds and Bees.
Birds and Bees.
Which is...
Roldiz and Sipical.
Yeah, that could
That
be
could
very
be a really
interesting.
good match. That could be a really good match.
Well, talking of upcoming matches, let's have a quick brisk bracket update as well and see exactly what matches we're going to have coming and how that affects the bracket a little bit. And as you can see there, NRG2, 3-1 win over Sastro, but it was an incredibly tight game that we just see, and as you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, lit up in yellow, beautiful sort of limeade, brisk colour there on the right-hand side. NRG2, our first qualifier. You can see Splice and Birds and Bees waiting there on the other side of things as well. And just a quick note as well, we had 24 goals scored during that series, so thanks to our fantastic sponsor Sorted. Of course, that means 240 extra meals going in the fight against hunger across
It's a good
North
chunk.
America.
And we get all 4 games today.
We get all 4 games
Yeah,
today.
that's pretty
We get
good chunk.
all 4 games today. Remember, double the broadcast today. We bring 4 games, which is it's fantastic. Let's be honest.
That was honestly
We're doing a good job.
a higher scoring series than I really expected it to be. I mean, Sastro, they played really great defense. I just wasn't sure how much offense NRG2 were really going to be able to put up against them. But, you know,
Both teams will come out of this happy-ish. I mean, no team comes out of a loss, you know, happy.
I mean, they played 1-goal games 2 out of 4. The other 2, they only lost by 2 goals. So it's
That
not
as
like
well,
they ever got blown out.
They've also got the very last game of today's broadcast. They've got plenty of time to go and sort themselves out mentally.
I think it's one of those things. NRG2 will be happy to get the win. That's the first thing to do. So you get that win, get qualified. And the other side of things, there's a lot of positives to take.
I think that's the first game they lost.
It is.
It is the first game.
Yeah,
I mean, they almost lost.
I mean,
the
it's
game
almost
yesterday.
an accomplishment when they don't win 5 goals. So, you know, that's pretty good there from Sastro.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, there was a couple of magical moments in that series. Wasn't there? A couple of double touches that really stood out for me. And Again, it's just that ability to create almost something out of nothing that has separated them, for me, from some of the other teams that are in the tournament at the moment that we've seen in the Eastern Quarter. Let's look into these, into the other matches that we've got. We saw Karma pull off something insane yesterday. If Shogun was still talking about it when we were walking to the studio today. It's those kind of moments in 2v2 that seem to stand out even more, just because, you sometimes have to create something out of nothing.
Well, that's the thing that I absolutely love about 2v2 in general. It's like you have so much more creative license than you do in a 3v3 environment. Again, I touched on it back in day one. You've got so much space to work with. You really get to showcase your mechanical ability in 2v2, and that's what I love about it.
It really is a case of when you see people in threes and you say, okay, here's a ball, beat all of them. Everyone just goes, I can't. Okay, that's just not possible. But you say beat 2 people, people can do that. That's pretty nice. People can manage that. So you're going to see a lot more. I think you see good goals more frequently in this tournament.
Okay then, well that's going to do us for the moment. Of course, when we get back, we're going to go for a very quick break right now, but when we get back, we have our next upper bracket game coming up. It's going to be Space Station taking on Upper 90 Esports. See you in just a second.
Hi, I'm Wavepunk. And I'm Turn Down. Don't forget to register for the Universal Open. There's a $100,000 prize pool. Don't miss it. For real? Doesn't stand a chance.
The Universal Open Rocket League Tournament presented by 7 Risk is coming back to NBC Sports. Sign up to play at universalopen.gg.
So you'll be here to help if I need you?
I got you.
What about here?
Yeah.
Here?
Yes, Kyle.
And here's Sir Robert from State Farm.
If you invite me.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Season 2 of the Universal Open, presented by 7-Eleven and Brit. Now, we've just seen NRG2 be our first qualifier for the regionals, and now we've got our next match coming up, and of course, that is going to be Space Station taking on Upper 90 Esports, gentlemen. Now, we've already seen some of Upper 90 Esports in the previous days here, but it's going to be our first viewing of Space Station on the broadcast. Shogun,
yes.
What can we expect?
I think it's going to be pretty much one of our closest games we should see today. And you know, in hindsight, I look at the bracket that these Upper 90 boys have had, and if Rederican actually turned up, they would have had the hardest route to this point of any. They would have had Rederican, Splice, then Space Station.
I mean, you could put G2 there. That'd be the hardest.
I mean,
well, they're on different
that'd be
sides.
so.
They're on different sides.
Yeah, that'd be
so
mean
no, you're totally
at that
right.
point.
You're totally right. You're totally right. I take it back. But it would be really hard.
Well, they could be about to finish it. They won one by default. The
That's
Shogun
the best
Chief
way to win.
special right there.
That's the best way to win.
A win's a win. As far as I'm concerned, a win is a win. But Chiefs, tell us a little bit about this team, Space Station. We haven't seen so far, and you know, what can we expect? Where are we expecting to be one of the qualifiers?
So Vince and Halcyon have been around since what, season 2-ish?
Yeah, ever since I called him Halicon.
Yeah. Never forget.
I've got plenty of goofs on my name. Okay, it's all good.
We all do. The Boston Splice group is doing quite well. But no, Vince and Halcyon have been around Rocket League for a really long time. Vince kind of came on the scene on Take 3 with season 1. Halcyon season 2 was set to destroy it. Then they all sort of came together under the Hollywood Hammers name and played in the rival series. They did pretty close. They almost made top 2. They ended up taking 3rd place this last year. So they decided to play some 2v2 instead. They don't really play a lot of 2s though. So they're a little bit. I won't say like worried, but they're like, look, man, 2s is really hard. That's about their approach.
And to sort of like go into this a little bit more, Hollywood Hammers, and I think it's like a North American curse, so to speak, because they were one of those teams that were getting really bigged up. Because during one of the rival weeks, they beat Rogue, was an RCS team. Remember, Hollywood Hammers weren't even a rival series team at the time. You know, twice in one of those best of 3, best of 7s. That took a really long time. That was a war of attrition. That was.
The best of 3, best of 7.
Yeah, you definitely deserve your win if you take a couple of games like that. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting matchup. This could potentially be, well, the winner of this will be our second qualifier for the regionals, which is, again, very exciting that we're joining NRG2, who we just saw go through. But on the other side of this, gentlemen, the loser of this, again, we've talked about this Shark Tank of a lower bracket. They don't want to be falling into that, but it looks like we're about to get into our game. So, gentlemen, it's Space Station versus Upper 90 Esports. Once again, Chiefs and Shogun will be your commentators.
As you did mention, that lower bracket is around, and waiting in it is Splice. So will it be a rematch against Upper 90 or Space Station? Have to take on Splice in that round. We're about to find out. Rapid and First Killer was so good the other day. Just those individual plays. Don't expect to see too much come out in the form of teamwork unless they've been really trying that out the last few days. Instead, just look to see awesome 50-50s, incredible dribble plays, just that little bit of flair.
And the start, not quite the hottest thing in the world for Halcyon and Vince. A couple strange challenge angles, a lot of wasted boost, and what a shot from Rapid. And First Killer and Rapid, they're not pulling any punches here, as that one's again off the back wall.
Now going to be Rapid taking over. It is just punch after punch so far from Upper 90. But finally, it looks like they might be a little bit punched out, as Space Station can move themselves to the other end of the field. Need to make something here, though. Halcyon has got the setup, but just never is going to quite settle down for Vince to take the shot. Be very careful with their positioning right now. Both Space Station players are quite far up, so as you can see, Halcyon did decide to rotate back just that little bit. That boost still not around for him to steal. Still hasn't popped up either. Must have just been picked up before the camera went over there. Rapid, one-on-one against Halcyon. Rapid, one-on-one against Halcyon.
Killer, it's not the worst challenge. The problem is Rapid is playing a fairly defensive position, expecting his teammate maybe not to win that, or at least lose it straight out to the opposite end of the pitch, and Vince just waiting in the net has a better angle.
Two different players taking two different approaches to where that ball would go. Space Station coming out the better for it. Ball will drop down for First Killer, who decides to play it early off the backboard. Halcyon should be able to deal with that one pretty well, and he does.
Kind of takes the wind out of your sails too if you're First Killer in Rapid. You started off so well offensively, a lot of decent chances at the net, and then you get one like that scored on you.
It's one of the ones that hurt the most is because just comes out of nowhere. You're playing so well, you've got all the control,
wrong,
but
this
is the opportunity for Rapid to turn it in. One goal apiece, Upper 90, able to respond.
And that's the best way to get it right back. It's you sort of put that all out of your mind. You win a nice challenge here in the midfield, beat Vince to the ball, and get a little help from the post there, and it rolls its way on in.
It's exactly as they need it as well. Upper 90 should be able to do pretty well in those 1v1 situations. Not even necessarily cleanly winning like they just there, but forcing a very decent challenge. First Killer. Straight down the middle. Wants to see if he can force a poor touch out of Halcyon. Rapid taking it up. Low boost. But Vince can take over. How much has he got? He's got enough to try and deal with this. We'll be taking it over to the far side. Using a bit of height. Now back over to the middle. First Killer has jumped incredibly early. Rapid wouldn't have been able to get that to that one even if he tried.
2-on-1.
They played it very early though. And very direct. Those passes have got to be in front of the car rather than behind it or even into it. Still, Space Station struggling to clear their lines. Rapid just flicks up. Wants to force the move from Vince, and there's the second touch. I don't think Vince knew anything about that, but he'll happily see that one. Though First Killer set up to Rapid. 2 goals to 1.
I love what's coming out of Upper 90 right now. They are just sharking all over this defense. They're saying, look, we're going to sit right in front of you, and if you don't play it perfectly around me, we're going to be right there to put it home. And they've done an excellent job applying so much pressure to Space Station. And the best part is they haven't had to do a lot to apply pressure. They just sit really close and say, don't mess up.
Yeah, there's been a lot of times where they've decided to play a purposefully loose ball. Speaking of loose balls, that one should be turned in. It is. And that is a hat trick for Rapid.
That is a hat trick for Rapid. And Halcyon just cardinal sin, smashes it off the side wall as his teammate gets demoed, and that's it.
Yeah, even without the demo, that was still a very risky play to be going for. But Upper 90 have boxed in their opponents. What I've really liked is just how patient they've been with some of their plays.
Yeah,
they don't require immediate results. They are happy just to force some boost out of an opponent. Great challenge win from Rapid.
They'll swipe the corner boost. They don't even care about that ball. They're just saying, look, you're not going to have a lot of options on offense here.
There's even been times where, even in offense, they're just tipping the ball up high and forcing one of the Space Station defenders to just jump for it. There's going to be a shot on target, and then there's the recovery from First Killer. Huge opportunity for Space Station to get back into this game. It goes away from them after an incredible save out of nowhere. First Killer keeping the 2-goal cushion intact.
It's nice to see it come on both sides of the ball. And how about this turnaround up into the middle of the field and gets a nice side roll into the top left? They're on fire.
We've been talking about the 1v1 skill. Here's some of the teamwork. Rapid upper side of the goal. Smashed it.
What do you call it over here? A corker?
Yeah, there's many things you can call it. A corker, a blinder, a thunderous strike, a cracking shot, or just generally a good goal.
A good goal. I like that one.
Vince, let's try and find some way through. But with 20 seconds remaining, this game could very well have got away from Space Station.
Oh, yeah.
It was a very good start for them, but
I don't know about
Upper
that.
90.
I don't think a very good start for Upper 90, sure.
Upper 90 definitely overwhelmed them towards the other end of the game, and it has continued to be exactly like that. 5 goals to 1. Just no challenge right now for a team as mechanically skillful as Upper 90. You've got to be up in their faces.
You really do. And Halcyon and Vince, I think they're going to be well aware of that coming into game 2. And First Killer and Rapid, what was really interesting was like the pace was up, but as soon as they got onto the other half, they pulled out all those 1v1 abilities that we talk about all the time. They sat there, forced them to think on defense and make tough decisions. And just like that last miss off the back wall, it forced mistakes out of Space Station Gaming, and that is perhaps the most well-deserved win.
And I think we can now officially say, I mean, we were looking at that Splice game and saying, okay, can you continue that, or is that just your best series that you can possibly come up with? It seems like no, that is their regular status on set.
Yeah, very much so. An incredibly stifling almost performance from them. They just controlled the entirety of that match, and you almost feel for Space Station after that game because there wasn't much they could do. They just didn't have anything go their way, and they were just not allowed to have anything go their way.
Yeah, they took 5 shots, and I don't even remember them, to be quite honest. It feels like the majority of that entire game. I guess there's the one from Vince, but that was just an awkward challenge, and that was how the game started off too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just that awkward challenge that they lost in the midfield, and they turned it right around about 30 seconds later, and after that,
and they showed a level of experience as well that, you know, things can go wrong like that, and you can suddenly say to yourself, okay, we're not going to try that one again because it went wrong for us once. But no, they kept trying for it. They kept people close on the shadow, and then as soon as they got the lead, they just started style on this match. So game 1 over to upper 90, and
clean.
They'll be feeling happy after that one.
They will be feeling happy, and on the other side of things, there's kind of 2 ways you can take that, isn't there? You know, for Space Station, it's kind of one of those, what just happened? Like, we've just been blown
There was
out
a bit
the
of a
water.
sucker punch there.
Yeah, and you kind of think, you know, we're going to get smashed in this series, or it's one of those where you have to sort of reset a little bit. You have to go, okay, that's happened. You know, it's a fresh game now. This game's over. Let's get on with the next one. That's kind of the mentality they have to take, because if they think they're beaten already, then, you know, the next 2 games might even well not play. I mean, it was that.
Move on.
Devastating.
Go play the losers
exactly.
bracket, Space Station.
I would honestly really like them to stay in motion. Where they're getting caught out the most is those 1v1 situations where
right in front of
someone
net,
from upper 90 is just happy just to even just tap the ball and get into a better position, because they know that the opposition side is just sat completely still. They've got to jump up at a terrible angle, and they're just going to push it straight back because there can be no power. They've got to keep that pace going. If that means going for an earlier challenge, go for the earlier challenge rather than trying to settle down.
Well, they've got it all to do. Of course, it was a bit of a resounding victory in that first game that we just saw there, and obviously the game is about to get underway. So, gentlemen, we're going to throw it back to you one more time. Game number 2 is very much underway.
Well, it took us just over, or just under half the game, I should say, to find our first goal last time. But if upper 90 can keep up the same pace of scoring they did last time, they'll happily continue that. Rapid. Beat on the challenge. Halcyon has got a big opportunity right now.
Oh, no.
Over flicks. Especially with Vince behind him, I would like him just to have forced the challenge, trying to kill the ball dead. Would have been an easy follow-up.
Could have thrown it literally anywhere that Vince could get it, and it would have been just fine.
Now first killer. 0 people back, but just sort of shovels the shot to the wrong side.
Oh, man. What a quick turnaround from Rapid there in the midfield. Had a choice. Go the boost and give him the ball for free, or let first killer have a crack at it, and he almost put it home.
And we're seeing exactly what we saw towards the end of the last game. Upper 90, controlling in that final third.
We clear.
Looking to see the mistake. Double commit is forced out. Rapid has got boost. First killer steals the other one. Huge chance. Almost scored. Vince there just in time. I think first killer was aiming for a bump. Just wasn't there for it. And there is Vince.
Wow.
Completely missing out on the shot.
Wide open. Space Station just got to secure the chances they have. That's 2 big missed opportunities for them right now. And first killer and Rapid getting away with murder in game 2.
And you can almost say that they're rattled at this point in time, but every single time they miss a shot like that, it's not going to help them in the confidence department at all. Vince, over to Halcyon, way over the top of him. He's going to be forced to try and keep the play going. First killer securing some middle boost. Over to Rapid. Nice clean rotation there from them. Now back out. Wasting the possession. Now Vince can take over.
No, there's nothing after that.
They seem to be getting something, aiming for a bump. And you can see the reach of first killer to try and escape. He doesn't even stay on the goal line. He goes deep into his own net.
Drove off the back wall of it.
I mean, he'll happily try and save it from anywhere.
He's that good, baby.
Rapid.
Oh, what a catch from Vince. Just kill that attempt.
You spin, I hit you one. It's a very good strategy.
Works every time. We saw Fireburner and Squishy both do it. It was pretty awesome both times.
Something to be said for it right there is now Vince wants to try and say something about this current scoreline. Now he's going to be forced on the rotation back. Rapid is waiting around. Far side is his option. First killer for the shot.
Ooh.
What a save from Vince. Pre-jumps, doesn't even aim to challenge the ball. Instead, he predicts where the shot is going to come from.
Yeah, and that's the perfect play from Vince. You have to be very, very aware of the situation. It's so easy to try and pick a spot in the net to defend, but honestly, that just gives way too much to the opposition. He decides to cut it off at the head, and what brilliant save.
2 minutes left in this game, still 0 goals. Rapid
Rushed
to first killer, but straight down the middle. Halcyon tries to power the ball to the other end of the field. And Rapid covers well.
Really think
Loose ball.
upper 90 are just rushing a couple of their chances here when they get on offense, but otherwise still feel like they're kind of driving the pace of play here.
There's going to be a long clear. Look to try and secure some of the middle field resources. Taking some time on this dribble. It might just work out. I feel like Space Station are trying to force dribble wins rather than dribble challenges a little bit too often. They're often not coming out on the right side of that. Halcyon to the middle. Once again, the infield pass attempted. This time around it works. Space Station have the lead.
It's been a long time since they found the back of the net, and it has to feel good. First killer and Rapid, maybe a little bit of communication errors there. They were both kind of in the same part of the field. Maybe both of them not quite sure who was supposed to go up for that save. Delays the attempt, and that's just enough to open the door for Halcyon.
Well, now they've got to hold on to this lead if they want to try and take game number 2. Rapid. Flip reset, not even attempted. Save your medal now over to the teammate, and Vince can't get there in time. First killer scores.
A great goal here from upper 90. Rapid with a brilliant fake. Halcyon, heck of an adjustment to go out there and get it, but again, you see upper 90 just lurking around the top of the box, close to the play, not afraid of any long clears because they know there's no position for them to really get one off, and they are credited for that aggression again.
And once again, Space Station, they got into defense and they just stopped moving. If you're going to stop moving, the only place I'd really say is a good spot is up on the backboard, because you know at least then you can cover a couple of different angles. Instead, found just being almost a little bit lazy towards the back. First killer for the backboard. Oh, almost got the double tap. Rapid keeps that pressure on. Now Vince clears the corner. I don't know if that boost is going to turn up in time for him. It will not.
No.
And he wants it so badly. Wins the challenge. Now Rapid.
Big mistake.
First killer steals the boost. That Anaconda-like grip from upper 90 as they try to squeeze out their second goal of this game. First killer, he will be aiming for it. Halcyon is on that backboard and he's pushed into the corner. Best play available for him. But they are still stuck, and they've been scored on.
And this all stems from Halcyon and Vince both being on the backboard right there. They both cover the exact same options. They both end up in not the best defendable position for the follow-through because one of them should have been waiting in the net to get the second chance, but poor communication. And again, first killer and Rapid hanging out right next to him saying, don't mess up. And they do.
All the way back out. Final chance. Bumped away, over the top, but it's not on target, and it's going to roll in the most awkward way possible. Can anyone even get over there? Vince has got 0 boost, tries to be the hero. Setup is for Halcyon, but it's not going to trouble anybody. Does hit the floor, upper 90, a game away from qualification.
But the worst part of that entire series is that's kind of a gut punch for Space Station. They had 2 massive chances at the start of that game number 2. 2 pretty much wide open nets, and they beat both of them.
Yeah, I was about to say exactly the same thing. I mean, if you want to get back into a series, you have to take those early chances, especially coming off the back of what essentially was a drubbing in that game number 1. That could have been a completely different game. You take those 2 first chances, you're up 2-0, you can play a different game. You can change it up a little bit, but that's going to really knock the wind out of your sails. And then, I mean, the first goal that upper 90 put on the board is a piece of brilliance once again, and that almost compounds the misery.
Missing free nets. It cuts deep, man. Cuts deeper than
Feels
you know.
bad, man. Feels bad,
It feels real bad. And the best part is Space Station even had a chance to get it going. That right there, that first goal of the series. And then Vince just a slightly slow rotation and couldn't quite make it there. And a great equalizer. And after that, upper 90 again, just like you said, Shogun, the Python grip.
Yeah, I mean, in that sort of situation when you've got 2 players on the backboard, you need someone who can face onto the ball so that way they can follow up their own touch. Because Halcyon was facing backwards, he's not going to be able to follow up a touch that he's put behind him. So it just, all credit upper 90 because they are forcing this situation. They are forcing the gameplay to almost just slow down to a crawl. And that allows these mistakes to actually happen where people are overthinking. You got to remember, Rocket League, a lot of people don't actually think. They just
they just do it.
They just do it, okay? They don't actually, you know, a split-second decision comes in front of them, and then they suddenly do the very first thing in their heads. And the very first thing in Space Station's heads at this very point in time is...
At least hit the ball.
Yeah, how do I get back into this? Because they have got to force a reverse sweep, otherwise Splyce await. In the lower bracket. And Upper 90 starting off as they mean to. One goal, it didn't even take 20 seconds.
And another gut punch to Space Station here. Weak clear from Vince. Even worse, Halcyon bites at it, isn't aware of where Rapid is on the pitch and that he's got him clean beat. And that's a free goal all the way.
It definitely looked like Halcyon was expecting that closer to the bumper of his car. Would have been a very nice clear if it did work out, but that touch there from Vince just opened up that defense. There's going to be first kill on the backboard. Look to try and grab a goal from a ludicrous angle. Upper 90 stealing the show so far.
They really have. I mean, we didn't give them too much credit in their first game that we saw out of them versus Splyce back in day number 1, and we see him again here on day 3, and boy, it's been a fireworks show.
Vince, far corner. Going to commit the closest player. Usually Rapid would be going for that one. Rapid is going to try and take this down to the other end.
Oh my gosh. And he got the boost.
Like a sticky grenade at this point in time. They can't get rid of it, and Rapid going to pick it up. Can't quite go too far. The ball already running away from him.
Ooh, chance here for Space Station.
Back out, Halcyon tries to keep the pressure on. Vince all the way back, and that boost did not turn up, and it's stolen away. The map refusing to cooperate with Space Station. And now Rapid, he knows one of them's low on boost, and he's gonna score it himself. What? That, ladies and gentlemen, is filth.
Oh, that's the goal of the day right there, and we're not even halfway through. Oh, that's brilliant. Got the flip reset. I'm done. I'll see you later.
Spin.
I'll see you later. Oh, Rapid, that was brilliant. Off the back wall, gets a flip reset.
Can you assist yourself for the assist of the day?
Honestly, he should. We need one.
That almost should be allowed, and there's faked out. We talked about sucker punches earlier on. That was a sucker kick. Doesn't even use it. Once again, we sort of picked up on this yesterday and the day before that, where you see a player go up for that flip reset,
you
respect that they're always going to use it. No one ever tends to go up to challenge.
You gotta respect it. If you don't,
I would almost say don't at this point. Just
it gets put over your head if you don't.
Most of the time, though, we're seeing a lot of these players bounce off at a terrible angle to go for it. I would say your odds are better. Yes, you're going to get scored on by a couple of them.
But you still got
so many options. But ram your face into the
options.
situation.
You got so many options.
I like the option where I'm proactive achieves, not the option where I'm looking at someone just going, hey, have you got the skill?
Are you good enough to score this goal? That's a dare and a half right there.
You wouldn't.
You won't. You won't.
Yes! Vince brings us back by 1.
Oh,
this isn't over just yet. Halcyon setup incredibly precise.
It's a great touch from Vince as well. Well out of reach. Got that slight tilt backwards on the car to force it over to the left-hand side of the net. If he gets a little bit too complacent with that shot, probably gets saved. Well-placed ball.
Rapid. Gonna take his time here. He's got plenty of boost. No real challenge for the time being. Comes in very late. Rapid's controlling the ball very well, but Halcyon sweeps up after Vince's early challenge. Now looking to try and go for a setup. Everyone committed over in the corner is going to make getting a goal from this situation incredibly difficult for Space Station.
Oh. I was about to say, why not add another sick one to the list?
Back down. Just caressed over to the side as Vince flicked from him, and he's got the boost. This is big right now from Space Station. They've got to make something from this situation. But the pre-jump from First Killer reads where Halcyon wants to go.
And Space Station would really like to have something
on
the board.
Oh, 1-goal game, wow. Upper 90, being forced to sweat.
And I was about to say, Space Station would really like something here before about the minute-and-a-half mark, and they find it. Rapid finally beat to a challenge coming off the sidewall for once. Halcyon picked a great angle, really dove at that one hardcore, and just, I don't even think he was trying to put it in. It just kind of happened that way, but either way, if you're Space Station, you've got some real chances here in Game 2 now. There's plenty of time on the clock to work with.
Seemed also comfortable for Upper 90 just a second ago. Oh my, has that switched. But for Space Station, the work is not over just yet. One more goal required. Otherwise, they will be eliminated and lose their chance at that $100,000 prize pool.
Not clean.
There's going to be Halcyon. He's got it out. First killer. Tries to win the ball, but came at a very bad angle. Still dangerous. Another goal for upper 90 is very much on the cards. Vince looking to try and get a set. He can actually get something from the ceiling, but kept moving forwards. Halcyon shot. Will not be too much danger, but everyone from upper 90 on the back line. How few times have we seen this? Been stuck back. Space Station taking the boost, looking to control the time. Challenge there from Rapid. He's managed to keep this going. But has that freed up some room for a clear? Yes, it has. Upper 90 escape the danger.
And that was really the first sustained attack that Space Station have had all game, and they've got a chance to continue it here. Halcyon, a big challenge win up on the side wall, steals the boost away as well.
Rapid.
First killer.
Only out to Vince. Double tap is on the cards. Double tap! Nailed!
He nailed his right out of the corner. This is no easy task. A great tap to himself, a brilliant read. First killer actually had a chance to clear that ball, misread the bounce, saw it going out more towards the top of the box, and unfortunately went straight sideways. And Rapid sails right on through, and Vince snipes the net.
3 goals down. 1 more to go for Space Station. Rapid with the flip reset this time around. Halcyon more than aware that Vince was behind him, happy to go for the challenge and force the early move. That bounce wasn't too great, however, for Space Station.
This game just got tense.
Got real tense, real quick. Remember, Space Station's tournament lives are on the line. That bounce was pretty much the worst thing possible for Halcyon. Won't be able to trap it. Upper 90. If they can get this goal, they will knock out Space Station. If not, we go to game number 4. Halcyon, ball on his hood. Forces it forward, saved that from first killer. Danger still around, dropped.
Whoa, they got it.
And that is going to be the challenge win. First killer, open goal to his name. Space Station dropped to the lower brackets.
I was on Vince's camera that whole time. Never in a million years did he think that that ball was going to get cleared in that manner. He was sitting on the top of the box, waiting for them to bungle that clear. And they just, they didn't pinch it, but they tipped it right off one another, and it went straight down the pitch, and Vince just caught way off guard. There was no way he was expecting that. That was brilliant.
Well, I mean, that was an exciting way to end everything, wasn't it? Yeah, a bit of overtime action, but yeah, ultimately, Upper 90 Esports, you know, they will qualify, and they're going to be our second team to qualify now, joining NRG2 as the first qualifier from today. But I mean, Space Station, it seemed like they finally worked things out, but it was just too little too late for them.
I'm kind of just sitting here shaking my head because the last thing I expected was to have First Killer and Rapid come out here and just, there's no other saying, they crushed Space Station. Now that being said, Space Station sort of beat themselves. They had a lot of opportunities to take games and put themselves in excellent positions to at least come back. Like in that game 3, they fought all the way back. But this series could have easily been 1-1 after game 2.
And this is definitely a team that I'm looking at right now. And yes, if they were to go up against NRG2, they would not be the favorites. However, they're the first team I'm looking at and just say, okay, if you implement your strategy, you stand a chance.
I think it's a very good point, and one thing that we should remind you guys at home of as well is the fact that we had 16 goals scored during that series, so that is 160 mils going to be donated to the World Food Program over in the USA, thanks to our fantastic sponsor, Soylent. So congratulations for the team, another 160 mils in the bag, gentlemen. We're doing well today. We're doing all right, aren't we?
I believe that's 400. I've done mental math here.
Real
I haven't
fast?
used the sheet.
So you said you weren't going to do math all week,
Well,
Shogun.
I got it right the first time. Let's see if I got it right.
I'm not going to say that seemed like
Guaranteeing
a
it was.
very rough estimate from Shogun, to be honest with you.
Right
But,
about
24 in game 1, wasn't I not? Was it not?
No, game number 1 was 17. I don't even remember. I can
Well,
go back and count. We'll figure it out. Tell you
We'll
what, we'll figure it out during
Don't
the
worry,
break.
the
I got them all
guaranteeing
written
I'm
down.
The
right.
important number is that we had 16 goals scored, which equates to 160 mils. Remember, if you want to get involved in the fight against hunger over in North America as well, go over to wfpusa.org/Shogun. Universal Open. Not
Sorry,
/open.
I was too busy trying to gloat that I might be right.
WFPUSA/universalopen.org/universal open. We got there eventually. There
We
it
did.
is. But yeah, our second qualifier for today. Now we enter the Shark Pit, gentlemen. This is where, you know, teams are going to be sent home. This is their last chance now.
And before we move on to that point, one last thing about Upper 90. It's not all sunshine and roses for them. I mean, don't get me wrong. They played great series, well-deserved qualification, but they really need to work on their defense going into regionals. That's the big thing I want them to fix. Because even in that last game 3, when Space Station got that offense going, Rapid and First Killer didn't look the cleanest on defense. Some awkward rotations, some weak touches, and teams at regionals are really going to capitalize on that.
Here's a very scary thing, though. From our schedule, Space Station are up next. They have no time to recover. And they've got a tough match.
That's going to be a real mental challenge for them, but one that they're going to have to overcome. So let's give you all at home right now our brisk bracket update and show you how things are looking at the moment before we enter that Shark Pit of the lower bracket. As we can see here, we'll have Sathstro taking on Splyce and Space Station taking on Birds and Bees.
Hey, Shogun, do you want to amend your previous
I don't
statement?
think I quite got that right.
Yeah,
right
just
there.
bring that one back. Bring it back.
Yeah.
Shogun, we'll give you another
Splyce
go.
versus Sathstro and Space Station versus Birds and Bees.
All right, there we go.
So, you know what? That could be very interesting. Sathstro versus Splyce, obviously, they'll be up next for us. Sathstro, they got some things going up against NRG2.
They played decently versus NRG2. It's just how do you stop the machine, you know? That was the thing about it. And up against Splyce, if Splyce plays like we've seen them,
I mean, there's two sides to Splyce, really. There's the really good Splyce, and then there's the other Splyce.
Yes. What are you doing?
We don't know which one we're going to
get
yet.
The way I see it with Splyce at the moment is the really good Splyce or the slightly lazy Splyce is what I saw in those first couple of rounds from them. But they definitely
We've seen more Splyce than you, Lance.
That's very, very true. That's very, very true. But anyway, let's remind you all at home of the hashtag. We want to hear from you guys. As always, we want to get some of your tweets featured on the broadcast as well. So use that hashtag UOSF2. It's just up there, just above Achieve's head. We thought we'd put it there because we like directing everything towards
attention.
You, Achieves.
It's
exactly. Attention. We take it away from the man at the end. But anyway, that's going to do us for right now. When we do get back, it will be all about elimination and qualification. It's going to be tense. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this.
Hi, I'm Wavepunk. And I'm Quinn Lobdell. Don't forget to register for the Universal Open. There's a $100,000 prize pool. Don't miss it. For real? Doesn't stand a chance.
The Universal Open Rocket League Tournament presented by 7-Eleven and Brisk is coming back to NBC Sports. Sign up to play at universalopen.gg.
So you'll be here to help if I need you?
I got you.
What about here?
Yep.
Here?
Yes, Kyle.
And here's Sir Robert from State Farm.
If you invite me.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.